Vitality is our ability to have spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical bliss. Some call it paradise. We call it a game. The Black Manosphere magazine is a physical and digital publication made exclusively for Black men, Black boys, and our supporters. This special edition consists of a core glossary with over 150 words and concepts used in the Black Manosphere. This special edition also takes an in-depth look at the purpose of the Black Manosphere, the most important challenges we face as Black men, and solutions to collectively improve these issues with an annual report card to measure our progress. Let's face it, Black men are horribly represented in media, and we're changing that. So on behalf of our team and contributors, thank you for your support.
Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I am your host, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. No articles, no videos today, just facts today, just fire today. Black women are the white supremacists of Black culture. There, I said it. How can that be, Crimson Cure? Why would you say that? Well, they bear some striking similarities between themselves, how they behave with other Black people, how they're seen culturally in a lot of different respects, and just the overall behavior, the overall mindset. We're going to actually just dive right into what I'm actually talking about. And we're just going to go step by step. The first similarity is that she's a slave owner. Black women own slaves. Their slaves are their children, which I've gone over in previous videos this week about how Black women view their children as their property. And it is the exact same mentality that they have, that plantation owners had over their slaves. That is my property. I do with it as I wish. I can make it work as long as I want, until points of exhaustion, until they die. I can be generous to them, or courteous to them, or harsh to them, or brutal to them. And no one is going to be able to stop me or tell me that it is not my right to do these things to my slaves, aka my property, that I do not view as completely human. And this is the same in Black culture with Black women and her children. They belong to her as in property. And there's no one inside or outside of the culture that can tell her what she can and cannot do with those children. She can be generous to them. She can be courteous to them. She can be nice to them. She can be brutal to them. She can be abusive to them. She can be a monster to them. And she may even kill them on a whim if she desires, because they are her property and she does with them what she wills. And everybody in Black culture understands that a Black mother has complete and total arbitration over the life of her children, regardless of the quality of that life, regardless of whether that life is good or bad, whether she's doing her best by those children or doing her absolute worst by those children. The only thing to be respected is the ownership of those children by her, such that at any time, if she's in dire straits, if she's going from pillar to post, if those children are hungry or homeless or being abused by others or not being protected or not being cared for properly, they're undergoing some type of neglect, they're undergoing whatever dire situations that they're undergoing, you're never supposed to actually take a Black woman's child from her because that would hurt her. And it's never looked at as we're doing the best that we can by these children. And it doesn't matter what she thinks about that because the life and the safety and the happiness of those children actually come first. In Black culture, the children don't come first over and above what pleases the mother. This is the same thing as a plantation owner back in chattel slavery. What the slave went through was of no consequence, even if you ran across a particularly brutal slave master, which sometimes they did, and other white people would be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I know that's your property, but this is pretty bad. Like, this is pretty bad. You're kind of running a house of horrors over here. You know, this isn't even business. We don't really know what this is. You know, there were those times. And the same thing happens in Black culture. There are those times where we see the brutality of a so-called Black mother against her children, and no one will raise a finger. No one will raise any type of objection to her in any meaningful way that actually saves those children from her. No one helps with the trauma of those children. No one gives those children an outlet or a way to survive her. They either survive her or they don't. And that can be a physical survival or an emotional, mental survival. A lot of times, even if she doesn't physically dispose of her children, they are ruined for life due to the trauma that she has introduced them to in their formative and childhood years that they never really worked through. And it screws them over for the rest of their life. They don't know how to connect with other people, or, they're functional in a certain sense in their lives, meaning they're able to get jobs and they're able to sort of monetarily take care of themselves, but they're a wreck. They're an emotional wreck. They are a mental wreck. They're a psychological wreck, and that it takes almost a lifetime for them to pick up the pieces of that, because even when they become an adult and they need closure from her, 99.9% of the time, she's not going to give it. She's going to dismiss whatever she did, or she's going to belittle whatever she did. She's going to make it small, and she's going to likely blame the children for whatever she did to them, or she's going to make some sort of excuse. So she is the complete arbiter over the lives of her children because her children are property. So Black women are slave owners in Black culture. Let's move on. Like a white supremacist, especially back in the day where there was Jim Crow and there were all of these sorts of culturally acceptable practices of being a white supremacist in this country, not accountable for any actions, especially any actions performed against other Black people. Okay? She's not accountable. There's nothing that a Black woman can really do that's really going to be on her shoulders and her shoulders alone. At any time, she's able to dish off any bad behavior that she engages in, whether that bad behavior is something that can be passed off or if it's something devastating. It doesn't even really matter what that behavior is, who gets hurt behind it, or what happens behind it. She's always going to be able to be excused. She's going to be able to have an excuse, and the excuse now, instead of skin color, it's her she's a woman. So because she's a woman, that means that she doesn't have a whole lot of accountability. She doesn't have a whole lot of responsibility for the things that she does. Only time she has accountability for the things that she does is when those things are considered good things. She goes to get an education. She goes to get a career. She goes to make money. She goes to, goes on to, be successful in some way. underneath the lost value system's definition of success, if she's successful under that, then of course she's 100% responsible and accountable for her own success. But if she encounters any failures, if she commits any atrocity, if she commits any wrongdoings, if she fails in her motherhood, she fails to be a proper woman, she fails to engage in any of the things that women are supposed to engage in or expected to excel in, then she's not accountable for any of that. It can always be turned on the society. She actually can lean back on, this is the one unique thing, she can lean back on and say that the society is racist and prejudiced against her. And so therefore, that's why she was unable to fulfill some success in the arena of being a wife or a mother or even a decent woman. She can always point her finger towards Black men and their lack, of whatever she thinks that they lack in or whatever she says that they lack in that contributed to her delinquency in any way, shape, or form. You see what I'm saying? She can point that out. She can always fall back on something else. She doesn't have to be accountable for what she does. There's no reason for her to ever have to own up 100% to anything that she did, that she does. Even if she does something like I've been covering, the killing of the children, the excuse is always going to be she had a mental problem. She had to have some type of mental problem. She had to have some type of other issue going on that provoked her, or she couldn't help it. So therefore, she's not accountable. This is the same thing that white people and the privilege that white supremacists enjoyed, especially during the time where this was culturally acceptable for a white person to actually act on the privileges of white supremacy and not be scorned about it. It was acceptable to be a racist at that time. So this is the same privilege that they enjoy. If they committed any crime or any atrocity against a Black person, then, it was handled with some leniency. Like, what were the other circumstances? We're not just going to condemn them for doing whatever they did or having whatever shortcoming they had. We're going to look into it. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't be too hard. Don't be too hard. We don't have to ruin the white person's life over a mistake, over something that they didn't have any control over. It was impulsive. Yeah, no one's perfect. All of these different excuses were given to white people, especially during those times in our American society where it was quite acceptable for them to do whatever they wanted to do against Black people, even if it seemed a little bit off, even if it seemed a little extreme, it didn't matter. They weren't really accountable for their actions. It could always be excused somehow. There was always some excuse to be given. There was always some safety net again to, it's not that bad. It's just not that bad. And if it is that bad, it's most definitely somebody else's fault. It cannot 100% completely be her fault. Which leads me into this. She's able to violate other Black people, particularly men and boys. And this goes back to no accountability. So if she engages, let's say, in domestic violence against her boyfriend or husband, the first thing that people are going to ask is, well, what did he do to her to make her do that? Now, when the roles are reversed, when it's a Black man committing violence on a Black woman in a relationship situation, no one asks, what did she do to get that from him? How did she provoke him to fight her? It's just instantly wrong. We just instantly know that it was wrong for him to do it. Doesn't matter what she did. It doesn't matter what precipitated that. It doesn't matter what happened before. He is unable to violate her because he doesn't have any rights over her. She has rights and privileges over him. See, the thing to understand about it, and it goes back to being a slave owner, Black women are the only human beings in Black culture. Black women are the only human beings in Black culture. Black men are certainly not human beings. They're human doings. And actually, so are her children. Her children are not human beings either. Like a slave, her children are commodities to be traded back and forth for monetary gain. That is what her children are. That's why I said she's a slave owner. What were the slaves? Other than just simply the property of a slave owner, the slave was the commodity of the slave owner. There was money to be made in the selling and buying of slaves, in the trade of slaves. And just like that, there's money to be made in the bartering, in the selling and the trading of her children. This is why she steals them from the father, so that she can barter and trade with the state to get child support, to get benefits from the state. Doesn't matter about the condition of the child. The condition of the child is not looked after. Nobody cares about that. She doesn't care about that. The state doesn't care about that. They might do a cursory glance over just to see if the children are breathing or not, but they don't really care. They're going to give her those benefits. She can falsely claim that the children are with her or whatever. The state doesn't care. They're going to give her those benefits. She's going to get child support if possible. She's going to get SNAP benefits. She's going to get Section 8 benefits. She's going to get these benefits because she is presumed to be the rightful owner of her slaves, which are her children. So the state is bartering with her. She's getting these benefits. In return, the state wants the children. The state actually wants control of the children. So you're going to have to put them in public school. You're going to have to subject them to everything that we do in the school to prison pipelines. They're going to have to be fodder for us, particularly your boys. We're going to have to be able to arrest them and put them through the system and put them through foster care systems and the juvie hall system, and put them through the jail system. We're going to have to be able to break these children down, specifically your boys. We're going to have to buck break them. That's the deal. You let us buck break your children, we'll pay you for it. So her children are commodities, which takes me back to being able to violate other Black people. See, she can violate her sons. She can abuse them. She can molest them. She can do whatever she want to do, or she can open the door for that to happen to them. She can buck break her own boys. Just saw a video. I did a video a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so, where the video was entitled, I Know Where All the Masculine Men Went. You can check it out. It's right here. Where the mother had trained her 3 sons to twerk, thinking that it was cute, so she can violate them. She can buck break them. She can break their masculinity from an early age so that they don't understand their identity as males and as men. She can violate Black men. She can violate a Black man just like her children. She can hurt, maim, kill, run over, shoot, stab, fight, commit violence by proxy, have other Black men to hurt a Black man or to kill a Black man. She can always do that. She can always do that. There's no real consequences behind her doing that. Not really. Who gonna check me, boo? That's what she's thinking. That's where she got that from. Who gonna check me? That sense of entitlement is the same sense of entitlement that white supremacists had against Black people. Who gonna check me? Listen, we know full and well the history of this country. They was able to snatch any black man, woman, or child off the street. Particularly, they targeted the men off the street, drag them somewhere, beat them, mutilate them, do whatever they're gonna do, hang them, and take pictures of it that night and in the morning. And no one was to question why. This was not considered an atrocity because black men, black people in general, were not considered to be human beings. So they didn't need the same consideration of life that white people had. So you could actually hang a black man, castrate him, and put his genitals in his throat, and then take a smiling picture like a trophy hunter, and nobody thought anything about that. We can watch videos of black women having black men jumped. We can watch videos of her running him over with her car. We can watch videos of her trying to beat or stab him with some type of object or a knife, or trying to shoot him, or trying to do any of that stuff. And no one is going to intervene on behalf of the man that she's attacking, because he isn't a human being. She is. So he doesn't get the same consideration of being a human as she does. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and he was attacking her, she's the human being that can't be attacked. Now there's an issue. We can watch countless videos of a black woman fighting and hitting and smacking and punching on a black man. As soon as he so much as pushes her or holds her or restrains her, you got people coming out of the woodwork to get him as if he was the aggressor. This is the same thing back in the Jim Crow era, or whatever era you want to point to, where no matter what kind of accosting a black man was undergoing from a white person, be it a white woman or a white man or even a white child, if he retaliated at all, see, if they accosted him, nobody's going to intervene on his behalf. But if he retaliates or defends himself in any way, then now he's the aggressor. He wrong. See, do you see the parallel? See, nobody's going to talk about it like this. Nobody's going to break it down like this. She can violate other black people, her children and men, boys and girls, and the men. She can do that. There's no real penalty for her. If a black man calls the police and say his girlfriend is hitting on him, they gonna come out, but both of them gonna get arrested. He gonna get arrested for being the victim, because he obviously provoked her to violence. She would never have done that violence without him, right? Right. She maintains the same view of black men as supremacists do. She has the exact same outlook on black men as white supremacists have always had and always purported, especially when they did the movie Birth of a Nation in 1915. Black men are predatorial. Black men are lazy. Black men are shiftless. Black men are naturally criminals. Black men are naturally stupid. Black men are sex crazed, maniacs. They are immoral. Black men don't have any integrity. They have no masculinity. They have no honor as men. They're savages. They abandon their families. These are all, every last one of them things I named is something that you can quote a white supremacist for saying. These Negroes is lazy Negroes. They shiftless. They're criminals. They're predators. They're sex crazed. They are abusers. They're barely even human. They're savages. They deserve to be locked up. They deserve whatever come to them. They deserve whatever hardship happened to them. They deserve whatever evil befall them. They deserve that, because look at them. Just look at them. All you got to do is just look at them. And you can see that they deserve it, right? This is the same exact view of black men that white supremacists have. You can hear even on YouTube in these other like divestment spaces and all that type of stuff. When you listen to black women talk about black men, this is stuff that they say. If there was even a small percentage of them that was talking about it, when you do get abortions, when you do get an abortion, because that's a foregone conclusion, if it's a boy, really abort it. Because we're going to kill all of these black men off. We're going to kill them in the wombs. They're committing the genocide on black people that white supremacists always wanted to do. They're actually doing it. That's the difference. They're actually successful at it. Black women are successful at this. They maintain the exact same viewpoint. All that they good for is being a bed buck. So she'll go get pregnant by him, no problem. To use the child as a commodity because those are her slaves. That's how she produces her slave class and her commodity class. So she has to procreate with black men because only little black children can be slaves. Her mixed children are not slaves. Understand that. Her mixed children, she would never abort a mixed child. She's not going to abort the offspring of Zaddy ever. Never. But a black man, if it suits her, she's going to abort it. If it suits her, she's going to abort it. If it suits her better to have that commodity piece, she's going to birth it. Because children are commodities to her. They're not her children. They are little pieces of things that she uses to get money and get ahead and get different benefits and stuff like that. That's what, and uses it to torture a black man with it. So she feels the same way in her heart about a black man as any random KKK member would feel about a black man. Like the white supremacists in the annals of history of this American country, she's protected by biology. See, white people were protected by the biology of their whiteness, their skin color, just the lineage and where they were born and how they were born. Even if they didn't like each other, the Scotsman doesn't like the Irishman. And see, that didn't matter when it came between them and black people. That was an internal thing for them. But they were protected by being white. That was their biological protection. You're gonna get protected because you're white. You can't really do no wrong because you white. Especially when we're talking about against black people. Of course not. At any point in time, you're better than them. And no matter what your situation is as a white person, I don't care if you're homeless. You always gonna be better than a Negro. Just by skin color alone. You don't have to be more educated. You don't have to be more articulate. You don't have to have more money. You don't have to be more of anything. All you gotta be is white for you to be better than a black person. That's all you gotta be. And in black culture, all you gotta be is a black woman. in order to be better than everybody else in the black race, particularly black men. See, she's better than a black man no matter what. She's better than a black man whether she's educated or not, whether she got money or not, whether she can articulate herself or not. She can be homeless, and she's going to be better than a millionaire black man because she's a woman. She's a black woman. So she's better than him automatically. Just by virtue of the biology. She's better than him. And she don't have no qualm of telling him to his face she's better than him. She come to every interaction and every relationship with a black man. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. I don't care if you got me out of the slums and you a billionaire that you self-made. I don't care if I don't have a GED and you got PhDs. If I'm a black woman and you're a black man, I am better than you. So if we get into any situation, you got to serve me, sir. I don't know what you think. I'm the prize in the situation at any point in time, just because I'm a black woman. And the black woman is what? God. Who can be better than God? Who's better than God? Who's greater than God? Who? Nobody. Nobody and no thing is greater than God, right? And in black culture, the black woman is God. And she really believed that. In white supremacist culture, white people are God. And they really believed that. You can't be better than a white man. You can't be better. You can't. If there's no achievement that you can do, right? Just like there's no achievement that a black man can make that'll make him better than a black woman. It is nothing. She can be in the slums of the earth a crackhead. No, nobody cares. She a black woman. She's supposed to be treated like a queen. She's supposed to be treated like a god. I don't care what that black man is doing. And every black man can be a dusty, low down, no good Negro. No matter what he's doing, no matter who he is. She's protected by culture. Her atrocities are excused or accepted by social policy. Culturally, black women cannot be wrong, especially when she's doing anything against other black people. The only time she can possibly be checked is if she do something against white people. But if she do something against black people, she's the white person of black people. So she's gonna be excused. The culture accepts her trashiness, it accepts her vulgarness, it accepts her violence, it accepts her crazy outlooks, it accepts all of that. All of that is acceptable culturally. Particularly in the black culture, she is accepted no matter what she's done. You can read it under the comment sections of some of my videos. No matter what atrocity is being pointed out, there's always an excuse and there's always some acceptable way that this can be okay. She's always all right, no matter what she's doing. Even if there is a small give, well, she wasn't completely right with that, but the other person wasn't right either. So there's always a shared blame. There's always an excuse. She's protected by culture. She's protected by the feminist gynocracy, the gynocratic arm of the culture as well, which goes into being protecting her through her biology. That's how she gets protected, through her biology being a woman. Culturally, it's acceptable. It's socially acceptable for her to curse out her kids in public. See, a black woman can cuss her 2-year-old out on the street. Call that little 2-year-old all kind of MFs and this and that. Nobody gonna stop. Nobody's gonna stop her. They may shake their head, but they're not gonna stop her because everybody knows, even outside of the culture, everybody knows that a black woman's child is her property. So you don't interrupt what's going on with folks and their property. That's just like seeing somebody kick their own car. It's their car. If they want to kick it and damage it. I mean, it don't make no sense to me, but okay. This is the same thing. She's protected. All of her foolishness is protected by culture because it's acceptable and it's excusable, which goes back to no accountability. When everything that you do can either be excused some type of way or just accepted, no matter if it's crazy or not, then that makes you not accountable. You're not responsible for nothing that you do. She's protected by environment. The laws and the courts favor her. You know how back in the day, and even today really, but back in the day, it was more prominent. It was more obvious. The police, the court system, the law was going to favor white people. I don't care if you had every legal lined up thing that you could possibly have lined up as a black person to say you right. You wrong. In the court of law between you and white folk. As a black man going headed into any legal situation where he's right legally and the white person is wrong legally, you know how ironclad and airtight that black man's legal defense gonna have to be? Without a shadow of a doubt, he gonna have to be right. And that white person, without a shadow of a doubt, gonna have to be wrong. And a lot of times, that didn't even matter. How many black men have been sent up the river for so many crimes that they didn't commit at all? Wasn't even around there. Got caught up anyway. Showed up in a court of law and got railroaded because he don't mean nothing in the eyesight of the law. Especially when it came to a white person of any stature. Same thing with black women. You don't fight her for the custody of her slaves because you know that the court is going to favor her. They're going to give her custody. You have to prove as a black man beyond a shadow of a doubt with an airtight defense and an ironclad case that this black woman is completely 100% unfit to own those children. So you need custody of your child because she's unfit, she's a danger. And you're going to have documented long proof. You're not going to be able to say just by your observation what's going on because that doesn't matter. She's protected by the laws and the courts of this land. They favor her. You know going in, you're not going to win on no child support case. You know that. You know going in that unless you are a black man of just you're going to have something different about you to go in and even get joint custody of your children. Don't let you be a 40-some-year-old black man and at 16 you got arrested for shoplifting and that's on your record. You ain't getting custody of them kids. Like, it's like that. She can go to jail for arson and come back and get custody of her kids. Like in the story that I just told y'all about. She's protected by the environment. The institutions protect her. The court system protects her. The police are going to protect her against a black man is. Because she's higher on the totem pole than he is. She keeps the tenets of white supremacy alive. All of the stuff that I just named for you. She keeps all of that stuff alive. She keeps all of that stuff alive and well in this culture. And how she does that, she engages in the destruction of Black people biologically, culturally, and environmentally. She engages in the destruction of Black people on a biological level by teaching her girls to be masculine and teaching her boys to be feminine. That's the first stage. Or she kills them in her womb. That's biological destruction. Or she abuses children as they grow, biological destruction. She doesn't teach them anything about life, about how to be a decent person, because she's not a decent person, biological. She culturally destroys them. She doesn't pass on any good culture for them to thrive on. Cultural destruction. The appearance value is bad. She doesn't provide good dwelling. She doesn't provide any of the things that her children need. And I'm focusing on children because that's the biggest scope of her influence. The largest scope of her influence is over what she considers to be her slaves, which are her children. She culturally destroys them. She teaches them everything horrible to be. She doesn't teach them about the beauty of Black history and, what they could be, the greatness that they could achieve. She don't. She ruined them socially. She allows the media to raise them. She allowed TV to raise them. She allowed social programming through school to raise them. She environmentally destroys Black people. She uses the law to destroy particularly Black men. She uses the law for that. She'll call the police knowing that any encounter with the police for a Black man can be fatal to him. And she know that, which is why she calls them. She uses the institutions against specifically Black men because she can't physically tame them. So she uses Zaddy to do it. She uses the law to do it. She votes in politicians that are going to back up policies that allow her to consistently engage in the destruction of her own through biological, cultural, and environmental means. So she uses politics, the constant voting of Democrats. We're not going to get into whether there's a true difference between Republican and Democrats. We already understand certain points of that. But what I'm talking about is the consistent voting in of politicians that are going to allow her to continue her reign of terror in Black culture. So I hope y'all understand what I'm talking about, or what I've been talking about today. It's not just a cute little cliche to say, Black women and white men are two sides of the same coin. It's not sufficient just to say that. We have to understand why it is so. What are the actual similarities? What is she actually doing, and how it is being supported on a biological, cultural, and environmental level? In order to reverse it, we're going to have to understand biology, culture, and environment separately. And then we have to understand the concept of bioculturon. This is extremely important. This is the actual solution to everything that I just said. It's not trying to get her to see anything. This is for Black people that don't subscribe, Black men that don't subscribe to any of this gynocratic stuff, and Black women that do not subscribe to it, to understand biology, culture, and environment, specifically as it pertains to Black people and Black women and what they are doing. And then once we understand biology, culture, and environment separately and what these things entail, then we need to understand bioculturon, which is how to influence all three of those things to change the environment or to produce a new value system. We have to be able to understand the transformative energy or synergy that can exist between biology, culture, and environment. So sound off in the comment section for me. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.
Hey guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if you've got more to say on the topic, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to support our sponsor, who so graciously supports this channel by clicking the description box and the link for A-Game at agameherbal.com. You can go ahead and get a 10% discount off of your next purchase using the code Kendra10. This has been yet another Crimson Cure production, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.